say, but we want to find out when it comes to the law and celebrities, are there any exemptions? Does the law even create anything, or does the law even recognize any group of individuals known as celebrities, or what does the law say? This morning I have one of my favorite lawyers on the line with me. His name is Dennis Oppong Wiafe Esq. Good morning, counsel. Thank you for joining us this morning on YFM.
Good morning, NY.
I trust you are doing very well.
I'm doing very well, NY.
We thank God. And belated birthday as well. You should have told us earlier.
Next year I will inform you.
He says next year I will inform you. All right, that's fine. Thank you very much. And of course, from your students and from everybody, we say
YFM 102.5.
Well,
thank you.
So this morning, this is what we are looking at: celebrities and the law. First and foremost, we keep saying that everyone is, in the face of the law, everyone is equal. Is that really the case? That do our laws actually create anything known as celebrities, and do they really have any exemptions when it comes to the law?
Very well. Good morning to your listeners, NY. There is this general perception or notion that when it comes to celebrities, they might gain some preference or some privileges when it comes to the law. But that is not actually the case. As you rightly put, all persons are equal before the law. So it will be appropriate to have this discussion from the constitutional perspective, considering the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. If you look at Article 17, Clause 1 of our 1992 Constitution, it says all persons shall be equal before the law. Now, the question is, does the all persons include celebrities? Generally, if you look at the nature of the 1990 Constitution, the answer is yes.
Yes.
It means that celebrities are all equal before the law. That notwithstanding, we have some people under our laws that have some privileges or immunities when it has to do with the laws. And I'll look at that or consider that to discuss that with you appropriately. But before that, let me explain who a celebrity is in our context of how we understand who a celebrity is. Generally, we can say it's a person who is widely recognized and celebrated for their achievements, talents, or any actions that they do in a particular field. So the question is, because of their talents, because of their achievements, because of how we organize them, should we give them some exceptions or exemptions under the law? If you look at Article 17, Clause 2 of the same Constitution, it says, a person shall not be discriminated against on grounds of gender, race, color, ethnic origin, religion, creed, social or economic status. Social or economic status. So what it means is that your social economic status is not necessarily a basis to provide a privilege or immunity as a celebrity. Now, if you go further under 17 Clause 3, it defines what is meant by to discriminate, what it means. And in effect, what it's trying to say by the definition is that you cannot give an advantage to a person based on a person's social status, based on a person's creed, based on a person's religion. In the same way, you cannot give an unfair treatment to another person based on a person's disability or a disadvantage that the person has. So it has been looked at or considered in two different ways. The first angle is that you cannot discriminate against me because of my disability, because of my religion, because of my political opinion. The other aspect, you cannot give me an unfair advantage or treatment as against the other person. So in effect, we must all be treated equally. Now, this Article 17 of the Constitution, both Clause 1, 2, and 3, has been interpreted by the Supreme Court. A case was referred to the Supreme Court in 2010. And in 2010, the Supreme Court got the opportunity to explain or interpret when we say all persons are equal before the law. And what the court said was that it does not necessarily mean that all persons can be treated equally. Now, you know there are some people or there are some offices in Ghana that in order to be effective or want for a better word, to successfully or effectively perform their functions in office, they must be granted some form of immunity in relation to the law. I'll take my time to give you examples. If you take our president, for example, our president, whilst in office, is granted immunity in respect of one, his office. In respect of his office, what the immunity that is granted is not in relation to his personal liability, but whilst he performs his functions, when there is any liability or any action to be taken in court, the action should not be instituted against the president personally. What it means is that it's the proceedings in court that the president should be part or shouldn't be a party to. But the conduct of the president as a person in the performance of his function shall be challenged. And the law says you can sue. And when you are suing, you institute the action against the Attorney General. Now, when the president is in office, he is a person. He can be personally liable, whether in a criminal sense or in civil liability. Now, because he's a president, the law says that whilst in office, you shall not prosecute him or sue him for his personal liability. Now, this immunity granted to the president is not absolute because the Constitution only postpones his liability, how he will be made accountable before the law. So, if you look at Article 57, Clause 5, it grants that immunity to the president while he's in office. But if you look at 57, Clause 6, it says that when he leaves office, within 3 years after leaving office, the president, even in that provision, it doesn't refer to the person as a president. It says a person who leaves office as a president within 3 years after leaving office shall be made accountable, shall be sued, whether in civil liability, whether in civil proceedings or in criminal proceedings. So what it means is that even those persons who have been granted immunity like the president, it's not even absolute. The privilege that the president enjoys under the Constitution is postponed. And when he leaves office, in the case while he was a president, he committed an offense. Then because he's a president, he will not be prosecuted because of a justification that has been provided to protect the integrity of his office. And when he leaves office, if he committed any offense, possibly he will be prosecuted, or definitely he will be prosecuted. That notwithstanding, even if he commits offense under Article 69 of the Constitution, it could be a ground for impeachment if it affects the integrity of the office or what have you. Now, if you even also look at members of parliament, now members of parliament under the Constitution, Article 116 plus 1, has also been granted some form of immunity in respect of the performance of their function in a simple way, things that they do in parliament, motions that they present in parliament, or what have you. Now, that immunity granted is in respect of matters that happens in parliament. And it will interest you to know that because members of parliament have been granted immunity, it doesn't mean that if a member of parliament commits a criminal offense, I say murder on the floor of parliament, it doesn't mean that member of parliament will not face the law. That member of parliament could be brought to court to be prosecuted because the immunity granted there should be in relation to parliamentary matters. And if you commit murder in parliament, it does not have any immunity or justification under the law. You may also take judges. Judges, for example, are granted immunity in the performance of their function. So, in event if a judge is sitting on a matter and a judge gives a decision which, in your opinion, affects you as a person, affects your rights as a person, Article 127 Clause 3 provides immunity to liability of the judge. Now, if you look at all these provisions carefully, the immunity which has been provided is limited to some extent, a civil liability, but not a criminal liability. What it means is that even the judge, if he commits an offense, the judge will face the law. Even if a judge commits an offense, the judge will face the law. The judge will go before another court to be prosecuted, in a simple sense. Now, some other persons too who may enjoy immunity under the law are foreign diplomats. Now, foreign diplomats, if you look at the Diplomatic Relations Act in Ghana, which incorporates the International Convention, grants criminal and civil liability to foreign diplomats in Ghana to the extent that they will not be subject to a criminal jurisdiction. Now, I took my time to give you these exceptions because all persons are equal before the law. And when the Supreme Court interpreted the Article 17, they came to the effect that because of certain justifications, because of certain reasons, we cannot treat all persons equally. All humans cannot be treated equally. So if you look at the exceptions that I've given you, these exceptions are there for a purpose. And for the exception to be granted, it should be a law that provides that if we're a member of parliament, if we're a president, if we're a judge, we grant you this immunity. So what it means is that we have to ask ourselves, are celebrities granted immunity under the law? Are they granted some privileges under the law? Generally, the answer is no. Because in the first place, celebrity as a state of
YFM 102.5.
The concept celebrity as a social status is not legally recognized. That is one point. Why is it not legally recognized? Because if you look at the concept of celebrity, it's very subjective. Sometimes you wouldn't even know who certifies someone as a celebrity. A person could be a celebrity to me, another person could be a celebrity to you, but not a celebrity to me. If you look at the concept, no certificate is issued. There's no yardstick of who becomes a celebrity. So legally, that status has not been recognized. For the law to provide immunity or privilege in relation to the law. So it must be established clearly that until a person finds himself, now it can be said to some extent that some political figures like the president, because of his achievements, may be considered as a celebrity. Now, if he's considered a celebrity, the immunity granted him is not granted him because he's a celebrity. It's granted him because of his office. That is why when he leaves office, in case he committed any criminal offense, he will face punishment. He will face liability in court. So it must be understood that the concept of celebrity is not recognized legally, but the law to provide immunity or privilege to that particular office. It's not even an office to put it in a correct.
It's more of a social status that's granted by perhaps individuals themselves.
That is so. And it will interest you to know that it's the youth that really elevates the status of a celebrity. Someone who just puts a phone before him, a laptop before him, make a video, make an audio, which is a comedy. It gets some views, and the person feels like he's famous, he's popular, and therefore it's a celebrity. If you have to provide you an immunity, what is the justification of providing the immunity? The immunity granted in the law for persons not facing certain liabilities, not being liable for certain conduct, to some extent, have justifications. So we need to ask ourselves, if you are a celebrity and you grant this immunity, what is the justification?
Interesting. Not too long ago, a number of celebrities or some of these popular individuals actually met with the IGP prior to the December festivities, and the conversation was like, Fiasco has raised the conversation that, I mean, the IGP should at least grant them some immunities. They should enjoy some benefits as celebrities, because Christmas events, they'll be moving here and there, so at least it means that call itself was not even in the right, because I mean the IGP can't even grant those exemptions.
Yeah, that is uncalled for, because the IGP to some extent, it's not a law in itself and it's not parliament. And even if the IGP himself commits an offense, the IGP will face the law. If the IGP himself commits an offense, the IGP will face the law. So is it interesting if you go to some other jurisdictions? I know you, as a journalist, you know that recently Trump was convicted.
Yeah.
Which he's awaiting the sentence. Who is a celebrity more than Trump? But he has faced the law.
Yeah, that's true.
So until the law itself provides some immunity, some privilege from criminal liability, whoever you are, you face the criminal charges. Even the president of Ghana, if he commits an offense, maybe while he's a president, he will not be prosecuted. But as soon as he leaves office, the criminal proceedings may start if he commits an offense.
Interesting. A lot of knowledge being shared with us this morning. If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking to Counsel Dennis Oppong Wiafe. He is with Obeng-Manu law firm here in Ahojo. We are talking about celebrities and the law. I want us to wrap up, but before we do that, recently there were questions about Kojohn Cancer Loweng. I'm pretty sure you might have heard of an accident. This is an issue that's in front, before the court, so we wouldn't get into the facts of the case. But people say that, that accident actually led to the death, allegedly led to the death of a 3-year-old boy. And people are saying, because Kojohn Cancer Loweng is a celebrity, into no nam hona yenye de hwe no, and I say I didn't call court crying to the yamani bail no. Would being a celebrity actually grant you easy access to bail, or bail is available to anybody so far as you're able to post, you're able to meet the requirements, or people are able to get it because they are celebrities? Are these exceptions?
Very well. So the grant of bail under a Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act, particularly Section 96, is discretionary. So what it means is that it lies within the discretion of the court to grant or refuse bail.
Okay.
Now, that notwithstanding, the grant or refusal of bail has certain conditions that the Criminal Other Offences Procedure Act has also specified or outlined. Now, the judge, in exercising his discretion, will invariably consider those factors in granting or refusing bail. I'll not go into the factors.
Yeah.
Now, one of those factors, or the main condition, is whether the person will appear to stand trial. Whether the accused person will appear to stand trial. Now, I think in 2015, the Supreme Court gave a decision because certain offences were made unbailable, and in those offences, the court did not have discretion to grant bail. Now, the Supreme Court declared that, in effect, regardless of the nature of the offence, the court should grant bail. That notwithstanding, the court exercises the discretion in granting or refusing bail by considering the factors. Now, the main factor is whether the accused person will appear to stand trial and will not abscond. If you look at Kojohn Cancer Loweng in particular, look at, I wouldn't say it's a celebrity, that's a non-starter. But the point is, if you look at the things that he does in the country, he has businesses here and there, he has shows here and there, will he abscond? Will he leave the jurisdiction of the court? If the case is fixed, will he say that he will not appear to stand trial? I don't think that will be the case. The court will consider that he has a fixed place of abode. I think you have a fixed place of abode. Is he gainfully employed? Does he have men and women of subsistence nationality? I think the court considered all these factors, and the court was satisfied that because maybe Kojohn Cancer Loweng, if granted bail, in the judge's opinion, will appear to stand trial, then let me grant Kojohn Cancer bail. So the bail was not granted to Kojohn Cancer because he's a celebrity. It's because possibly he satisfied all the requirements for granting bail. You get the point.
Yes.
Now, the interesting aspect of it is that I don't know the offense he has been charged. But let's assume he was charged for dangerous driving. Now, under the Road Traffic Act, if we are charged for dangerous driving and it leads to death, there's a possibility or there's a definiteness of him giving a custodial sentence if you are convicted. So let's say they take Kojohn Cancer through they chase Kojohn Cancer for dangerous driving, and they take him to the criminal proceedings. And at the end of the day, the court convicts Kojohn Cancer. It's possible that you be given custodial sentence, regardless of the fact that you may see him as a liberty. The law doesn't create any exception for that.
Okay. Now, when you say custodial sentence, for the sake of a listener who perhaps doesn't understand, what do you mean by custodial sentence?
So, in simple terms, it means that he will be put into prison. He will be put to prison. Because I heard it led to death.
You heard what?
I heard the accident led to death of another
Yes,
person.
it led to the death of a 3-year-old boy.
Yeah, so I think under dangerous driving, there is a condition there to the effect that if it leads to death, if dangerous driving leads to death, possibly the judge may convict the accused person to a custodial sentence. So no exception will be given because all persons are equal before the law, and the law has not provided celebrities any immunity in respect of criminal proceedings.
Amazing. This is a lot of insightful conversation. I'd like to thank you very much for making time with us this morning on Rise and Shine, and we are so grateful for everything you share with us. Should we need any other clarification or anything, I'm sure we still knock on your doors and then seek for that. Thank you very much for speaking to us this morning, Council Dennis Oppong Wiafe.
You are welcome, NY. Have a good day.
All right, have a blessed one too. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it.